finger down if your best friend has ever tried to kill you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for choosing to watch this specific video. And if you are a returnee, a golden oldie, thank you so much for watching another video. I really appreciate you. If you are not subscribed, guys, please subscribe to my channel. Like, basically I see like kuma analytics, a lot of people keep coming back and they don't subscribe. You clearly enjoy the videos if you keep coming back. Stop being a stalker, just subscribe. Okay. In today's video, this has been one story that I've wanted to tell for a very long time. Have you ever been so confused by your best friend trying to kill you? Guys, ngacishe ngafa on payday. Imagine it was the 25th of October. If uthi uyangithanda, if uthi umngani wami, why are you trying to kill me? Gate 25 if it's unqeda kuhola. Like, why?
Why?
Why ungakhethanga ke E5 or ukhethe E20? Okay, no, not E20 because that's like close to the 25th. No. Now that I think about it, that was a very traumatic experience, but I only realized that when I, started talking about it and people were like, "Hi, Bowena, what do you mean this happened?" And when you're joking about it, I always use jokes to like process certain traumatic events in my life. So, like when I started talking about it, people were like, "Sorry, what? What? Why are you talking about this like you lost $100? Like, why are you talking about it like it's something so simple? This is purely just for entertainment. It happened a long time ago. I'm over it now, so please don't ungamangali kakhulu, ungathuki kakhulu. Yes, it's going to be very like traumatizing, but ungathuki kakhulu, I had known this this person for a very long time. Let's give her a name. We'll call her Tandega. Let's call her Tandi. Tandi and I were friends for a very long time. I think I'll just start there because if I start like from the beginning, I'm gonna end up like sharing a lot of unnecessary information, because right now I'm just here to tell you about the day. I had already been a working girl at that point for like a while. I had been working for a while, and I remember I had taken study leave from work. My best friend, both of them, okay, one is my best friend now, and then one is Tandy is my best friend then. So my best friend, my current best friend, I remember she needed help with something, and that something was like a serious something that Tandy knew about, and she was supposed to go to Soweto because Tandy had a car. I remember I was at Tandy's place this one time, and I was like, so this is what's going on with my best friend. And she's like, "Oh no, it's fine. Where's she now?" And we're like, "No, she's in Kempton Park." Like we started talking about it, and she was like, "Listen, tomorrow I have to do this. I have to deliver this in Pretoria. Do you want to come with me? Are you gonna come with me? And then maybe when we come back, we can fetch her from Kempton Park, and then I will go to Soweto with her, and then I'll take her back." She was a really nice person, and she was really helpful. At that point I didn't have a car. I was using public transport. So I woke up in the morning and I went to her place because I lived in Rivonia and she lived in Soweto. So I wake up, I go to her place, we eat, we finish. Now we have to go to Pretoria because she had just started like a small business. She had to go and deliver samples in Pretoria, and I was gonna like go with her. She had a boyfriend at that point, and I remember like when we left, they had spoken, and the guy was like, "You know what, Mina, I'm free, can I come with you guys?" And we went with the boyfriend. Before we leave the house, my sister calls me. My sister at that point, she was pregnant, but she was still working, and she was in Pretoria I think she was in Mamelodi in Pretoria. She calls me. She's like, hey, listen, where is Tandy? I'm like, oh, actually, I'm with her, you know, because I think we had spoken about Tandy being in Pretoria at some point. She was like, is she still coming this side today? And I was like, yeah, she is. She was like, okay, if it's possible, can she pick me up from Mamelodi? And I will buy you guys lunch. I will buy you lunches on me just to say thank you for picking me up. And we were like, I split. Hi, fine. Kungabi namsebenzi. Oh, see. Sikaphule ke kube mnandi. We get to Pretoria, she does the drop off. Now we wait. We are waiting for my sister. So my sister was supposed to Uber from Mamelodi and meet us and in like the spot. I don't remember where we were, but it was right at the beginning of like Pretoria. I think she offered to pick her up in Mamelodi, and my sister was like, no, I'm already getting in an Uber and I will see you guys like in a few. I think that's what she said. My sister will make you wait, okay? She will make you wait. When you are dealing with my sister, you just have to be patient. And now we are fucking hungry. So, cause she was, she was considering like, you know, us getting food and eating. But in my head, I was like, okay, she already offered. Like, asidleni imali yakhe, or like, asidli imali yakhe, because she already offered, you know. She also shared that she hadn't eaten for the whole day. Okay, my sister shows up, okay, before we start the car. So when my sister gets there, Tandy was already on a call with her landlord at that point, and they were fighting over the phone. They were fighting about, because she was about to move out of her place and the landlord was giving her shit about like the deposits and stuff like that. So they were fighting about that. When my sister gets there, she continues the whole conversation, and you know, like they keep fighting, and we wait for they keep fighting over the phone, and it was taking longer for us to like leave and go get food. I don't even remember how the conversation ended. I don't remember if someone hung up on the other. I don't remember what happened at that point. I was just hungry and I was on my phone. After they end the call, I remember it was getting late, and she asked me, she's like, right now, are we gonna go pick your best friend up in Kempton Park? Are we still gonna pick her up? Or like, are we gonna make alternative plans? Now I need you to pay attention to my attitude on payday.
Into engivele nginichomele yona uNkulunkulu osesithandweni somlilo.
Okay, no, it's not an attitude, but guys, mina, when it's payday, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel like I'm Elon Musk and I can make the entire earth shake, okay? So every single time the date is like 2-5, you cannot touch me, I'm untouchable, leave me alone. So it was the 25th. And she asked, she was like, okay, are we still going to go to Kempton Park and fetch your friend? You decide. Mina angna moto. That's exactly what I said, okay? Now, hear me out. I'm not saying I'm right by saying this, but a lot of people didn't find an issue. Like when I told the story, people were like, she was the one who was supposed to make the decision because she was the one who was driving. She's like, what do you mean, Onamot? I'm like, no, hear me out. And now, remember, we are all hungry, and she had already been pissed off by someone over the phone. So already she just took something that was like so small and she turned it into like a big issue. So I explained to her, I was like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I just meant you're the one. I can't drive. I couldn't drive at that point. So you can't then ask me to make that decision, because I don't know, Mina, if you're tired at this point. I don't know if you're tired. I don't know if you feel like you can still drive to Kempton Park. So you have to decide, because you're the driver, you know. I tried to explain it and she was not having it. She was like mad. And I was like, you know what, Ntase, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm not gonna fight with you about this. You like, because I've already tried, you know, like explaining and try, you know, to like calm her down, but she's just busy like taking it up a notch. And I was like, you know what, I'm not doing this. So as soon as, you know, I said, Ndase Bona. She took a phone, she called my friend. She was like, hey, plans have changed. Umpume is going to make alternative plans for you, but Mina, I'm not going to be able to, um, you know. So Mina, in my head, in my head, I was like, I have money, I can make it rain. So if she wants to take an Uber, she can take an Uber. I'm the friend who has the money today, so I'll give you the money, okay? And she was so nice over the phone. It's just that which is why, like, I'm so confused about that day. So many things just didn't make sense. So she starts the car. Remember, I live in Rivonia, which is just after you come out of Pretoria, if I'm not mistaken. There was a KFC that was about like 10 minutes away from where we were. It was me in front with her as the driver, and then my sister behind her and the boyfriend behind me. We get to the KFC and my sister is like, Haige, Moshani. And we go through the drive-through. And now everyone is like asking, like what is everyone ordering? I'm a very indecisive person, like it takes a very long time for me to make a decision and stick to it. And I feel like at that point, like during that day, there were so many points where she was being unfair, because you've known me for years and you know, and I'd like to believe that you understand how difficult it is for me to make decisions. And now she was just not, she didn't care about that anymore. Like, she wasn't concerned about that, and she would say like hurtful things to me. I think people were trying to order. I think she asked me. I think I did the whole thing of being indecisive. She started taking jabs at me, but like she was talking to my sister, so she was talking to me indirectly and she was talking via my sister. I don't remember exactly what she said. And I was just like so confused, and that pissed me off, because the entire time, obviously, I said, hey, I don't have a car, so you have to decide. And she was mad about it. I apologized and I explained what I meant. She still wasn't trying to like listen. And I understood that, and it's like, it's fine, you don't have to forgive me right now, it happens. That was a misunderstanding, it's fine. But now, like, why are you shitting on my head using my sister? Like, what are you trying to do? So that pissed me off. And now I'm on my phone. They order the food. We get the food. Like we eat. When you're like too hungry, like you can't exactly eat like properly, because like you've gotten to a point where you are just too hungry. Aksadlik. She does that thing that she's doing like with my sister, and my sister's just there like, hey, fine.
Hey, man.
We leave KFC, and now the boards, like the boards on like the highways and the freeways that are like written like the areas and which lane you should take if you're going to this area. There is like a board that was written Rivonia. And then she was like, she asked me, guys, I'm so problematic sometimes. I am part of the problem. When we were approaching those boards, those signs, she was like, should I drop you off first? Because my sister, the reason why we fetched my sister from, like where she was, is because she wanted to go to Joburg CBD. She wanted to catch a taxi and go to Davidson, where she lived. So instead of like taking multiple taxis from Pretoria, it was better for us to pick her up and drop her off at Joburg CBD. Ne? She asks me, should I drop you off first? Me, I keep quiet because now I'm pissed, so now I'm like, hey, please leave me alone. Hey, fuck guys, why did I do that? And then she's like, she takes the way to Joburg CBD, and she misses my Rivonia stop. She forgets about me, and now we are beefing in the car. When we missed my Rivonia sign, I had already decided that I have money and I can get myself home, so I'll just get off in Joburg CBD, and I'm gonna take a taxi to Rivonia, or I'm gonna take an Uber. When we get to Joburg CBD, now if you've lived in Joburg and you've like had an experience with Joburg CBD, you know how mornings and end of the days are, like there's traffic. It's difficult to drive like your private car because the taxi drivers are just causing chaos. So we get there, and my sister is like, I haven't taken a taxi to Davidson in Joburg CBD in a very long time. Remind me, because my friend had started asking like, where should we drop you off? And she said, yo, angisakhumbuli, can you remind me? Here's another problem, me and giving people options. I said to her, it's either you can use this road or use this road. A person continues getting mad. I'm like, but ntase yini into ekwatisayo manje? Like yini into ekwatisayo? Because ngiyasho ukuthi khetha, you are the driver. I think the only thing, the one thing that started this whole thing was the fact that, you know, I keep telling her, you are the driver, you need to decide. I can't decide for you. I can't say go through this road when there's traffic and like you can see, because at that point I was not a driver. I couldn't drive, so most of the decisions I can't make for you because I don't drive and I don't know what you prefer. So you can use this road or you can use that road, and we are right here right now, so you decide. So she gets mad. She's like, no, but you have to tell me. And I reason with her. We end up finding, you know, the area where my sister has to, you know, catch a cab, and we drop her off. She leaves. After she leaves, she asks me again, where are the taxis that she's supposed to catch? And I'm like, you can use this road or you can use this road. I might have been wrong. Maybe she was just frustrated. Maybe I was the one that was wrong in this whole thing. I kept giving her options. If you go straight down this road, then you will get me to, you know, the area where I catch a cab. That's how I was like explaining the whole thing. There's less traffic this side, but it's gonna take longer, so I don't know what you want to do, but decide. I've given you options. She gets mad again, and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired. It's fine. And then she turns to me. She's like, what did you mean when you said like you don't have a car? Like we both use this car all the time. If you need to get somewhere, I drive you to wherever, da 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 da. So now she's confronting me. And I was like, Mtase, I didn't mean it ngaleyo ndlela. I've explained so many times. I understand that at that point I might have used the wrong words. So I expressed that again. Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it ngaleyo ndlela. I just meant you are the one who has to decide because you're the driver. What if I said, let's actually go get her? And when you're tired, you know, and Mina, I do have the resources to like make alternative plans. She was still not hearing me. And I was like, you know what? You are not trying to listen to me right now. I'm gonna get an Uber, it's fine. And then she was like, okay, leave my car, gay. And I was like, hi, Bo, what do you mean now?
What do you mean by that?
She was like, hey, Bo, actually get out of my car. And I was like, Sana, what's going on now? At this point, when she's like doing this, in my head I was like, this person, when we fight, you know, like people fight, friends fight, I am the type of person to like let things slide all the time just to keep the peace. So at that point I was tired because I had been doing it for years. We would fight and then, you know, I would just let things slide and maybe we would stop talking for like a while, and then she'll come back acting like, you know, nothing happened, and I would just allow her to do that and act like nothing happened, nami, you know. So at that point I was like, actually fuck this, Ivo, who do you think you are? You always do this. I'm like, today I have all the time in the world, I will show you. She says get out of my car, and I'm like, you know what, you are gonna wait for me. Also, we all know Joburg CBD is dangerous, especially for women, especially for at night. So you can't, who do you think you are? Please, I'm not getting out of this car, okay? We were parked next to the Pakistani shops while I was waiting for my ride. Let me tell you, I was so set on like carrying this mission that I was on, seeing it through, because I could have easily just kept the peace, gotten out of the car and went into the shop and waited for my Uber. I could have done that, but at that point I was like, I'm not doing this today. So I was still trying to get a ride, confirm a ride. She like moves the car. She drives for like a few seconds and she stops again. She's like, please get out of my car. And I'm like, dude, right now you are being difficult. Yeah, well, if you waited for me, the app wouldn't be changing the location every 2 seconds, and the app would be trying to find me a car right now. The car would get here right now because we are in a hotspot, and I would leave your car. But right now, because you're moving the car, it's difficult for me to pin an exact location, so I'm not gonna leave the car anytime soon. She was like, okay. She drives the car. If you know the intersection where there's the Ria Vaya buses and the Gautrain station, that dingy intersection, that dingy area, she drove towards that area. She made a left turn and she stopped by the corner. Now, in that dingy street, that dingy intersection, there are no street lights. It's dark outside and it had already started like drizzling a bit. Ne? She stops the car. She's like, oh, namanja ufuna uphuma emotweni yami. Oh, so even now you don't want to get out of my car. And I was like, I can't get out of the car. It's literally so dark here. It's dangerous. What do you mean? Uyahlanya. She leaves the car. She opens the door. She goes on my side of the car and she opens the door. I had, this is like the KFC, like package. And I had a bag, my Zara mini city bag. It was still brand new. It had been sitting on my lap. She takes the food and my bag and she puts it down on the street. And she's like, please leave my car. I'm like, Sana, do you know how much this bag costs? She's like, leave my car. Me, I closed the door. I closed the door and I locked the door and I continued being on my phone. She came around again to her side of the car. When she got in, I was like, you're not gonna leave my bag in the street. When all of this is happening, this guy is still behind me. He is so quiet. I've told you the story from like when we left. He's so quiet. He's not saying anything. She starts the car. When she drives, the guy quickly opens his door. He takes my handbag. And I'm like, you're not gonna leave my handbag on the streets. So the guy gives me the bag. I thank him. She drove again for like a few seconds and she stopped at like one of the garages and she snatched my phone from my hand. And I was like, she left the car and she's like, you'll find your phone at the garage because you don't want to leave my car. She charges towards the garage. I don't know what she realized. I don't know what was going on with her. She turned around, she came back, she got in the car and she threw my phone at me and she started the car. So do you see Uguti? She's just being dramatic for no reason. She probably took 15-20 minutes doing all of this, leaving the car, starting the car, driving for a few seconds, instead of like just waiting for me to get a ride in like 5 minutes and leave the car. Remember, outside it had started raining. She said, right now, I'm gonna drive. I'm not gonna stop anyway because I've given you so many chances to get out of my car and you are being stubborn. So right now, I'm just gonna drive. Whatever happens, happens. Yaqala-ke movie. She starts the car, she starts driving. In my head, I'm still the Mark Zuckerberg. We could drive to KZN. I have the money to get myself home today. I have all the time today and I have all the money today. She will know me today. And right now I understand you're watching this, you're like, that's so dumb. You could have just gotten out of the car and went home. But that day, I was not losing. I told myself that I was not losing, okay? Now, after like those like 2 garages, you drive, for like a few minutes and then you get to like an off-ramp and, is it off-ramp? You get on the freeway to Soweto. And as soon as we got on that road, we got on that highway, it started pouring outside. The guy behind me is still quiet. She decides to turn on the radio to like the maximum volume in the car, and I was like, I turn it down. She turns it. Guys, that was so wrong. I was just pissed at that point. She opens it up. Max, I turn it down. Max, I turn it down. I'm like, you are not gonna make noise for us. Please respect us. She turns it up. I turn it down. I remove the knob thing. I just pull it out and I continued on my phone. Also, have you ever asked me if I can fight? Because I can't fight. At that point, I'm doing all of these things and I'm not even thinking about, like, what if this person decides to throw a punch? She continues driving. She kept talking to herself, like indirectly talking to me, but like talking to herself, like people will piss you off, da da da. We drive. I'm on my phone. I got distracted for a few minutes. Nyezwa. And now we are at the part like on like the highway where there aren't any street lights, so it's like really dark outside and it's pouring. The road is slippery. You know the deal. Oh, Tandy had asthma, so she was having an asthma attack. Right next to me, she's driving. Whenever I think about this moment, yes, it did feel like I was in an action movie. It's hard to believe that happened. I think what brought me back to like the whole situation in the car was the guy behind me. He was like opening the storage thing that is like between the driver and the passenger. I don't know what to call it. And he was like just trying to feel out, like where the asthma pump could be. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I'm looking for her asthma pump, and I realized she's having an asthma attack. I turned on my flash on my phone and we looked for it and we found it. We give her the asthma pump. Here's your asthma pump. Guess what this lady does? Just guess. I will give you a second to just guess. She takes the asthma pump and she throws it at me.
Hey, where's Shwell?
I'm like, Nkosi yami ngafa ngimncane. How old was I? I was like 22. I was like, Jesu Christu ngafa ke namuhla.
Fuck.
I was like, dude, use your asthma pump. The fuck, like, what are you trying to do? I take the asthma pump and I give it back to her. She throws it back at me.
Man, kwenzakala.
It bounces around the car a couple of times and it lands under her legs. She's busy. On the wheel. She is driving. I am so confused. I'm like, I really don't care that we are fighting right now. I don't care that you're mad at me. I don't give a shit that you pissed me off. Use the fucking asthma pump. You are driving right now. Take the fucking asthma pump. At some point, she was like cussing me out, like, hey, fuck you. Leave me alone. And I was like, Jehovah, we all have our seatbelts on, right? I take off my seatbelt and I held it like halfway because I wanted to reach like under her legs and get the asthma pump and try to give it to her again. She had already started hitting me because in South Africa we sit on the right side of the car when we drive and I was on the left, so my upper arm was just messed up. She had started like beating me up at that point because I was trying to reach for the asthma pump and she didn't want me to do that. When she's like hitting me, she's using her left hand. Her right hand is on the steering wheel. The car, remember it's raining outside and the roads are like slippery, so the car is, like slipping and sliding into like some lanes. There was a car. Hey guys, we are in the middle of like a bridge. You pass like through a bridge. I'm not sure if we had 3 lanes or 4 lanes on that road, and there was a car. The car was on her side. The car like kept slipping and sliding on the road. The other car was just honking. Remember now, she's trying to hit me. One hand is on the steering wheel. One is like, obviously I'm obviously trying not to let the beating like get to my face, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Also, I'm multitasking. I have a seat belt with like one hand so that I can put it back on as fast as I can, but also at this point I'm trying to help this stupid person who doesn't want to take this asthma pump that I'm just trying to get under her legs right now. The car that was on the other lane on her side of the car, they saw that something is happening. They moved to the other lane and then they kind of like sped up. We are tussling, we are fighting, and I'm just trying to get the asthma pump. She's like to me, she was like, try me. I tried taking the asthma pump again. I reached for it, I spinanga kanje imoto in the middle of the road. I don't remember when I put my seatbelt back on because everything happened so quick. I don't know how to explain this. Everything happened so fast, but also everything was kind of like happening like slowly. Now we are fighting for the steering wheel. The only thing I know is just to keep the car straight. Did I tell you what she was hitting me on like my arm? And now we are fighting for the steering wheel because in my head I'm like, okay, I can't let this car get off the road because I don't know what's on the other side of the bridge and I am not going to die for this shit today. She's trying to like hit me so that I can let go of the steering wheel, but in my head I'm like, I need to keep the car straight. I keep reminding you that we are not the only people in this car. Let me tell you what this boy behind us, he was screaming. Do you know my screaming? I have a very squeaky voice, so my screaming is like screaming. He was screaming like me. The scream he screamed. In my head, I'm like, I just need to keep the car on the road and keep the car straight. After spinning, the car like comes to a halt in the middle of the road. By God's grace, the car that I spoke to you about earlier on, like a few minutes ago, was the only car on the road at that point. She drives for like a few seconds, like to the side, like the yellow line, man, on like the side of the road. She stops. She looks to my side and she's like, Namanje, you don't want to get out of my car. So now guy starts like being vocal. He's like, babe, don't do this, it's not worth it. At that point I was just defeated. And the guy says to her, but dude, it's raining outside, it's raining, it's dark, so you can't leave her here. She was like, where do I enter? Do I look like a kid? Now and the guy was quiet, cause please, I'm trying to put in a good word for you, bitch, but I am not getting out of this car and staying with you in this dingy road without lights, and it's raining outside, and I didn't have an umbrella, obviously. So we drive. She continues with her asthma attack. The first turn, like when we get off the bridge, when you turn right, there's like literally a police station. She drives in the police station, she parks the car, she takes her asthma pump under her legs, she uses it. She goes inside the police station. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm in Soweto, I'm safe, let me get an Uber and go home, child. Fast and the Furious was nice. I think she told them that, you know, like she wanted to report me for being in the car when she didn't want me to be in the car. They didn't pay attention to her, because I remember she went in, when she went out, no one like followed her, like it was just quiet. I forgot to mention that when all of this is happening, I call her mom. It was at the beginning of like the asthma attack, and she threw the thingy at me like the first time. When she responds, I was not paying attention to the phone, because I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out what to do in this car. So she's hearing that straight. So when we get to the police station, the mom calls her. Like after she leaves the building, she comes back to the car. The mom calls her. She's like, what's going on? And then she tells her mom that Mina, I didn't want to leave her car, and you know, I'm making her mad, so you know, like she was not gonna stand for that. Then with the guy, she was like, wena angisweni yamkhulumela, sala khona la, you're defending her, right? I'm leaving you here, you'll figure out what to do with yourself. Me, I just took my little Zara expensive bag and whatever it is that I had in the car. I got an Uber, I got in the car. The mom calls me back. She is like, what happened? So I explained to her that, you know, we had a bit of a tiff in the car, and instead of like being a grown-up about it, she just decided that, you know, she wanted to cause a car accident. And she was like, listen, let me call you tomorrow, I just need to speak to her. Following day, she doesn't call. I waited, she didn't say anything, watula. And now me and this guy, the guy took my number. When I got home like that night, I texted him and I asked him like, how is she? He was like, she's been crying the whole night. And I think the following day I asked him again, like, how is she today? And you know, he gave me an update. We only spoke twice. After that, I just let it go, because in my head I was like, you know what, she doesn't deserve like me trying to indirectly check up on her. I was just not willing to let that slide. You can't attempt to kill me and then have me being nice to you. That just shows that you don't care about me. So the mom, she didn't call me the following day. I waited for a few days, and I remember I called her at the end of the week. She asked me, she was like, manje nilungisa nini? With no care in the world, she was like, that was it. I saw it's okay, like she's not like willing to hold her daughter accountable, you know, so I let it go. And guess what, till today we have never spoken. The last time me and her spoke was when we were fighting in the car on the 25th of October years ago. If you loved the story time. Of course you did. Like nitanda indaba, so obviously of course you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Like leave a comment down below, guys. Like have you ever had like someone close to you, someone that you love like dearly, like try to kill you, and like what did you do? How did you deal with it? Like what happened? Share in the comments, tell me in the DMs. Like my shit, check my other shit out. As I always say, I do have a playlist. Everything is organized in my channel. You can go check my other videos out, check my other story times out. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next. Bye.